Hey, welcome back. It's Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tabacco, coming to you from the Newsmax headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. And on Money Monday, we bring on a money guest. We talk about money, and it's Money Manny joining us today. Manny Alicandro comes back. He's been on the show many times before.
Many times
before.
Love it.
We're talking about money with Manny. That could be a good Monday segment.
Absolutely.
Monday Money with Manny.
Absolutely.
But we're talking about money and your alma mater, MIT, and the alliteration continues. Monday Money with Manny on MIT.
It's pretty
There's
good.
a lot of M's
That's
in
pretty
there.
good. I like it.
But bombshell, Ronan Farrow in the New Yorker does this whole article about how MIT has been for years, even though Jeffrey Epstein was banned as a donor, has been working behind the scenes to accept donations and have him direct donations through other people knowingly. And not only is he a friend of the show, an unbelievable attorney, former candidate for New York City Public Advocate, he's also an MIT alum. And you wake up Saturday morning and you got this letter in your mailbox from MIT.
Yes.
Tell us more.
It's really kind of crazy what's going on right now. So what happened was there was a New Yorker article, Ronan Farrow put out an article, and it was very well written and very well researched. And it appears that MIT has a long-standing relationship with Epstein, in particular the Media Lab, which is a very highly regarded learning institution and research institution globally. And the head of it, this individual by the name of Joy Ito, he is very well regarded as well. He would speak in Davos and all that. He was very well connected. He had a relationship with Epstein, apparently, and what's crazy about it is I got an email on Saturday because of the New Yorker article by Ronan Farrow. Now, just for a little chronology, I received an email in late August that the school had accepted $800,000 from Epstein over 20 years. Now, all of a sudden, it appears that things change, and they took a lot more money, probably $6 or $7 million, as is reported, from him. So I'm really looking for facts, and supposedly the school hired someone, outside counsel firm, under the general counsel of the school to review and do a top-down review. But we really need to get to the bottom of this. I mean, it's really, to me, could be a pay-to-play scenario. Different than, somewhat different, but related to the college scandals that were going through with Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin.
So when you're talking about pay-to-play, for those of you who don't know, MIT is not only an amazing educational institution, they have this lab there where they incubate business ideas. People come to the MIT Media Lab and bring them ideas, right?
Absolutely.
Say, hey, can you give us 3 scientists or 2 geniuses or 5 rocket scientists to help us build this idea? And when you say pay to play, this isn't get a kid into MIT. This is Epstein sitting there as a private equity money manager guy, and he directs some donations. And then Joy Ito is sitting there with all these startup companies, and they go, okay, hey, this one's going to work out. And then Epstein and his boys get the opportunity to invest before everyone else knows
so
about
it really, it's like a two-prong approach if you think about it, right? One is it instantly helps his credibility. All of a sudden, Epstein is affiliated now with MIT and even Harvard. Now, all of a sudden, it's a boost for his credibility. He's well connected to these institutions of higher learning. Secondly, as you mentioned, and as was reported, he got involved with investments through Joy Ito. Now, I'm talking about companies. I don't know the names of the companies, but I'm talking about companies like a Dropbox. Drew Houston, the CEO of Dropbox, went to MIT. And he went through the incubation system there. So those are the companies potentially that Joy gave him an early look at. And clearly there's tremendous upside. Those are unicorns. So it really was beneficial to Epstein, but also to the university. And Negroponte, who is the founder of the Media Lab, actually said the other day that the school should have kept the money.
This to me is so interesting for many of the reasons you just alluded to. But when you say, the one aspect that I don't necessarily get of what Epstein was possibly trying to do here is when you say it was good for his reputation to be associated with Harvard and MIT. how would the public know about his association if, at least on record, he was prohibited from donating to those institutions?
Well, that's a great question, but there's some confusion about that in terms of some donations came in his name, some were concealed because he was on, the bad actor list, right? So they went out of their
Convicted
way.
felon.
They went out of their
Convicted
way
pedophile.
to come up with a pseudonym for him, his
Sex
initials or whatever. But at the end of the day, he was at meetings. He got involved in potential business transactions through MIT and at Harvard. So the people in the know, they knew that he was affiliated.
So I don't know that I fully comprehended exactly how Epstein would benefit monetarily until you guys just had this discussion. So just folks like me that might be a little slow on the uptick. So Epstein would give all this money to MIT, not because he's interested in the institutions of higher learning, but because MIT and the Media Lab have say over what businesses are going to benefit from being media labized, for lack of a better description, and then he can have his hedge fund invest in those same companies.
Potentially, right? So, in other words, MIT Media Lab, because it's such an influential institution, has access. People are really, really interested in becoming affiliated with them because it gets credibility.
If you get MIT, if you get in front of Joy Ito, and you bring a concept there and he nods his head, yes, I like it, you're off to the races in most instances because you're now tied to Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
And that will attract money. That will attract, you're looking for fundraising. That will attract
people will come and invest in you now if MIT is on your side.
I wonder whether they're convicted or not. I wonder how many of these other pay-for-play schemes are going on with other hedge fund managers.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's a great question. Who
Leon
knows?
Black from Apollo was
in
one
the
of
article.
donors.
Leon Black potentially through Epstein gave money to MIT, or as was reported in the New Yorker article, as was Bill Gates.
And in terms of the head of the MIT Media Lab, I understand he's actually lost his job.
He resigned. Yes. He did resign.
Yeah,
so the fallout is that the university is conducting a top-down investigation, and Joy Ito resigned.
Wow.
And then the fallout, if I know anything about the way universities or educational institutions work, the fallout is they're asking you for more money because they got to pick up the shortfalls because they don't have the pedophile around anymore.
The third email will be, hey, Manny, can you give us money to cover?
Here's the thing, Manny. I know you've been watching and you're on with us whenever we need you, and you're always a great contributor, but I know you know that one of my theories is that Epstein is still alive. And one of the things maybe we should look out for is if this guy, supposedly AKA Joe Walsh, makes any donations to the MIT Media Lab.
He does look just like him.
Take a look.
He really
take a look
look
at
the doppelganger there.
If you think that Jeffrey Epstein is not still alive, look again right there. He's coming at Trump from another angle. But you think Joe Walsh has made any donations to MIT?
I have no knowledge of that. That's a great question. Maybe.
If there's a mysterious source of funding for Joe Walsh's presidential campaign, then maybe that will lend some credence
Joe
to your
Walsh's
theory.
new campaign manager, Joy Ito.
Listen, at the end of the day, I think we need the attorneys generals from various states, these major institutions, to look at the fundraising efforts. We don't even know source of funds potential. I mean, banks can't just take money in, right? So if someone's on the bad actor list at a bank, right, the bank can't go around that and take the money anyway. And clearly, MIT did that, according to the New Yorker article, that Epstein was on a bad actor list, and they still took the money.
Wow. You got to come back as we continue to monitor this investigation into Epstein's death, which seems to be more and more fishy the more we hear about
Absolutely.
it.
Well, Manny Alejandro is not just a great attorney and former candidate for public advocate. He's on the beat for us when we need him, especially when it's Money Mondays with Manny, and we're talking about MIT. Manny, thanks a lot, bro. Appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you for being there and starting your week with us. And we're almost through hour 2, but we got plenty more to go. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Liquid Lunch. We'll be back in just a few minutes. In just a few minutes.